Hello everyone, my name is Kent Colbeck, and for this presentation I will be describing geology, how it's impacted society, as well as how it has helped shape human progress. When looking for a definition of geology, I found quite a few, but none seemed to capture it as well as what I found on the University of North Carolina's geological site, which explains that geology is the study of the Earth, how it works, as well as its history over the last 4.5 billion years. Geologists study some of the society's most important problems, such as energy, water, the environment, climate change, and natural hazards like landslides, volcanoes, and earthquakes. As proposed by Donald Beaumont, writer of How Earth's Geology Determined Human History, these elements were the driving force of continental drift, plate tectonics, weathering, and erosion. Without geology, we would not know how old the Earth is. According to the United States Geological Survey, up until the 18th century, it was commonly believed that the Earth was only a few thousand years old, if at most a million. Through technological advances of relative dating and radiometric dating, we are able to determine how old rocks and fossils are through the amounts of radioactive elements they contain. Rocks and fossils are a big part of geology in determining the age of the world, but geology is much more than that. Energy is a big part of how the Earth has become what it is today through the discovery of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gases, with fossil fuels making up a large portion of where the Earth's energy comes from. Geologists and geophysicists are responsible for finding where these fossil fuels can be found, as well as how we can extract them from the ground. Having limited sources of fossil fuels, along with them being hazardous to our environment, geothermal energy is starting to make a breakthrough in finding how we can take energy from solar power, wind power, as well as hydroelectric power. Geologists also have an important role in making sure that we have clean drinking water. According to Geology for Global Development, 663 million people lack access to clean water. Water is a key component for life. Therefore, it is critical to have clean drinking water, which is where hydrogeology comes in. These geologists find ways to bring sustainable drinking water to areas where water is toxic, to the point where it can create illness or even death. By finding where water is located below the surface and how deep we need to drill to access that water, geologists can make it possible for us to bring water to those people that are in the most need of it. Natural disasters are also another big part of geology and determining when they had happened in the past, as well as when they can happen again. By sampling sediment cores, geologist Simon Engelhardt and his colleagues were able to look at soil layers and associated sands from earthquakes to determine the occurrence of tsunamis off the coast of the Indian Ocean. These are just a few examples of how geology has impacted society. Geologists have discovered how the world has developed and is still developing through creating clean energy sources, creating sustainable resources such as food and water, as well as understanding ground conditions so that buildings and bridges are placed in proper places to where they can be supported. Geologists also give us insight on the on the processes that have helped develop humanity. Donald Beaumont explains several geological processes and events that he believed helped shape humanity into what we see it as today. These processes are continental drift, plate tectonics, weathering, and erosion. The processes cause the events of the segregation, shaping, and positioning of the eastern and the western hemispheres, rift faulting of Central Africa, the collision of India with Southern Asia, and Africa with Europe, as well as the melting of the last continental glacier. After placing Africa was placed in the perfect spot for mankind to emerge and thrive, being along the equator and having access to north, south, east, and west, as well as being across 4 climate zones. This was a prime spot for life to begin. Given this information alone, it is evident that geology is an important factor in the progress of humanity and how it has impacted society. Without geology, we would be blind to the evolution of our environment as we know it is today. Thank you.